Why do the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing? The kings of the earth set themselves against the rulers, and the rulers take counsel against the I Am and against his anointed, saying, Let us break their bands asunder, and cast away their cords from us. He that sitteth in the heavens shall laugh, and the I Am shall have them in derision. Then shall he speak unto them in his wrath, and vex them in his sore displeasure. Yet have I set my king upon my holy hill of Zion. I will declare the decree. The I Am have said unto me, Thou art my son. This day have I begotten thee. Ask of me, and I will give thee the heathen for thine inheritance, and the uttermost parts of the earth for thy possession. Thou shalt break them with a rod of iron. Thou shalt dash them in pieces like a potter's vessel. Be wise now, therefore, ye kings. Be instructed, ye judges of the earth. Serve the I Am with fear, and rejoice with trembling. Kiss the Son, lest ye be angry, and ye perish from the way, when his wrath is kindled but a little. Blessed are all they that put their trust in him. Psalms chapter 2. Deliver me from the hands of evil spirits, who have sway over the thoughts of men's hearts. And let them not lead me astray from thee, my God. Establish me and my seed forever, that we go not astray from henceforth and forevermore. Jubilees chapter 12 and verse 20. Yes, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Yes, those of you on YouTube. I often say TikTok because I was there, but you're solely it for right now. Solely is this, should I say, videos. My series of videos are on YouTube. Yes, and we want to say good morning, good afternoon, good evening to those of you. Yes, and those of you who would share the program. We say to those of you who are, this program is shared to you. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Yes. Yes, we're in the book of Ruth. But first of all, we want to give God the thanks for all that he's done. We want to praise him for his mercy. We want to praise him for his favor and all those things, and we just glorify God. Yes, we glorify God. We give him the glory and the praise, for he is worthy. And also with a hand clap of praise, we thank God for those of you that have been with us since the beginning. Yes, and we thank the Most High for those of you that have been with us here and there's about, and those of you that have just subscribed. Yes, subscribe. And remember to go into your settings and check on your subscription button, to make sure that your subscriptions have not been cut off. You have not been receiving subscriptions. And those of you who are about to subscribe, yes, we thank God for you, calling those things that are not as though they are. Yes, all praises to the Most High and him who inhabits all things. Yes, you're walking with Mr. Clay. I'm Mr. Clay. Yes, we're in the book of Ruth. Yes, Ruth. I decided just to continue on. This is Ruth. There's only 4 chapters in this book, but it's very significant in this book, the book of Ruth. For many, I see the way that many have it, they have it wrong about the book of Ruth, about Ruth herself and Naomi. And they try to justify things. You don't have to justify nothing with God. God knows why he does a thing. You don't defend God. God will justify and defend and make it, he would validate himself. All you have to do is understand. This is what God requires of you, to understand and know him. Yes. And in the book of Ruth, yes, there's many things that we can point out in the book of Ruth. Now we're going to go to verse 1. Verse 1 of the book of Ruth. Now it came to pass in the days when the judges ruled. So this is a continuation of the book of Judges, really. Yes, that there was famine in the land. And a certain man of Bethlehem, Judah, went to sojourn in the country of Moab, and he and his wife and his 2 sons. Now this is right there in the back of me. Moab, if you note where Moab is. It's on the other side of the Jordan, with the tribes of Israel that have decided they was going to stay on that side, but they will continue to fight with their brethren until the land is at rest. And God gave the land rest, and they were bidden to return back to their families. Now, it says now, he and his wife and his 2 sons. So they left because of the famine in the land. This was designed by the Most High to do what he wanted to do. Now, Moab, if you read in the book of Genesis, chapter 19, and around verse 37, 34, 35, 36, and 37, you read around there where Lot was delivered from, should I say, Sodom and Gomorrah, which is also in that area. Sodom, they say, is at the top of the Dead Sea, but really Sodom and Gomorrah is down there just where Moab is, right there where Moab is, and this is where he made his place. Now, we understand Moab is of Shem. Lot was of Shem. Lot was a son of Shem. Also, Moab, being an incestuous son of Lot, even he, regardless, is a son of Shem. Now, you have to understand this, regardless of what people say. Oh, it's not what you think. They were Israelites. No, they wasn't. Let's read what this has to say in its translation. And he and his wife, he says, they, and a certain man of Bethlehem, Judah, I'm in part B of verse 1. A certain man of Bethlehem, Judah, went to sojourn in the country of Moab, he and his wife and his 2 sons. And the name of the man was Elimelech, and the name of his wife was Naomi. Yes. And the name of his 2 sons were Mahian and Chilion, Ephrathites. So they were of the tribe of Ephraim, which was of Joseph. Of Bethlehem, Judah, that's where they lived. Bethlehem, Judah. They was in Bethlehem, a town in Judah. And they came into the country of Moab and continued there. And Elimelech, Naomi's husband, died. Now, there had to be some kind of war, or did he starve to death? Some say there was war there, and he died at the hands of their enemies. And she was left, her 2 sons. So Naomi was a widow. She was a mother. She was a single mother. Not a baby mama, but a single mother. In other words, she was married, but she lost her husband. Now, let's continue. And they took wives of the women of Moab. Now, they took wives of the daughters of Shem. This was in the same peoples. May not have been Israel, but they were of Shem. They were actually cousins in a way. Okay? We're going to leave it at that one. Now, we want you to write this down, and when you come across people that says this, no, there wasn't. Naomi was not an Israelite. She was Moab. She was a descendant of a incestuous situation. But the fact is, she still was a daughter of Shem. They still were correct in marrying inside the nation. Now, let us continue. The name of the one was Orpah. Orpah, not Oprah. The R is on the other side of the P. And the name of the other one was Ruth. And they dwelled there about 10 years. Every time God brings up in the writings, the historical writings about women, there's a significance to this woman. Whether it's good or evil, there's a significance to the woman. Now, and that's what many of us should pay attention to. Because the woman is one that nurtures life, period. The man, they copulate, the husband and wife, they copulate, and the seed gets and brings life into that seed. And it's like a butterfly, the metamorphosis that happens once this sperm of the man hits the egg of the woman, because the egg of the woman is nothing but just a lump of DNA. That's it. This is why the baby takes on characteristics of the woman. Else it wouldn't. The same thing with a chicken and a rooster. Now, a woman lays eggs, but she doesn't just sit down on the ground and lay an egg like a big old ostrich. No. It's inside her. All things are contained. She nurtures this inside. Whereas the chicken and all the other fowl birds, they nurture their young outside of the body. And everything they have is contained inside that egg. Same thing with a woman inside her uterus. Everything is contained. Now, And they came into the country of Moab and continued there. Now they had went because of the famine. Now, pay attention. And Elimelech, Naomi's husband, died, is what they said. Now we're going to verse 4. Now they dwelt there about 10 years. In verse 5, and Mahlon, and Chilion died also, both of them, and the woman was left of her 2 sons and her husband. She was left of her 2 sons, all of them dead. This is by design before the Most High. Then she arose with her daughters-in-law. Now you know when the daughter, see, note this, woman. When you are a woman, you take on not only the tribe and the nation of the man. According to the Israel, as far as heathen, the woman is king. That's heathen talk. But in God talk, the woman is of the tribe of the man. So because she married within that tribe of Ephraim, so she become an Ephraimite by marriage. But then once her husband died, she was free to go to her own people. Even so says the law. Now this thing is true. Now, but the fact is that this is something we're going to show you about this. Wherefore she went out of the place where she was, and her 2 daughters-in-law was with her. They loved their mother-in-law. That's a good thing when your wife or your wives love your mother. Man, that is beautiful. Because not only have you gained a wife, you also have a sister, and then you also have your mother, which she's listening to, and she loves her, and you have a community there. She trusts your mother. She's a part of your household, your father's household. Now, this was the way of Israel. And many tribes that have escaped from that place into Africa have adopted the same things. Yes, the father's mother runs everything, really. And her daddy is he's like the dad to his daughters of his wife's son. They are his daughters. He looks at them as his daughters, period. No lust, no nothing there. I mean, sometimes, yes, in a bad situation, these guys can do some bad things, but your son's wife? Oh, no. Ugh. But either way, regardless of how pretty she is, ugh. But either way, you got to be a degenerate to do something like that, to go behind your son's wife. Are you crazy, man? In other words, you just pushed that little baby boy you raised from a child and that baby girl that was with them or whatever, and now here they are, you looking at them and you lusting. Oh, hey, no. Man, get out of here. You need to be hung and burnt like that guy in, should I say, back then, I think it was Sudan or one of the countries in Africa, they burned his butt up. You need to be done something to go that far. Now it says now, and Naomi said unto her 2 daughters-in-law, go return each to her mother's house. The I am dealt kindly with you. Yes, God did, that they didn't die, as ye have dealt with the dead and with me. In other words, you have been a blessing to me, daughters. You've been a blessing. You've been there with me. And she said, we've been with me. You've been with my sons. You loved us. We were all family, period. And none of them would make it so bad. None of them had any children. All by design. Let's continue. Now, you know the law tells us that if your brother's wife, if your brother dies and his wife has no children, it tells you to go unto your brother's wife and bear seed unto him. This is the law, period. I mean, in this society, they have brainwashed many, as far as Israelites, those who know they are Israelites. Oh man, you gonna marry your brother? Yeah, I'm gonna have seed unto him and name that boy or that girl somewhat after him. Yes, I am, because that's what the law tells me to do. So you say, well, that's polygyny. Yes, it is polygyny, but that's my brother's wife. But both brothers are dead now. Now she was able by the law to go back to her people. The other one said this. Now this is something that you should look at. And she says, go, return to your mother's house. The I am deal kindly with ye as ye have dealt with the dead and with me. And the I am grant you that you may find rest, each of you, in the house of her husband. In other words, if you get married to somebody of your people, may you find rest. And she kissed him. She loved him so bad. Yes, she did. And they lifted up their voice and wept. I mean, it's a beautiful thing to watch women, because women are different than us men. The way they do things, the way they love each other, and the way they even love you, they're different. You can't think like a woman. And woman, definitely you can't think like a man. I don't care what all these other ministers in these books says. Don't think like a man. You think like a woman. This is insurgency. It's demonic. You're trying to figure a man out. Why are you trying to do that? You're trying to do just like Eve. I want to become equal with him. You have your own power within your own right, woman. Think about it. Your femininity. Your ruling, and that he looks at you as a one that is ruled by nurturing. Nurturing means you will die. You will ride or die. You would notice everything about this man and your children, because that's in you. It's built in you. A woman changes when she gets married. A woman changes even more when she has a baby. Yes. These things are inherent in you. That's why a lot of divorced or widowed women, when they marry a man, it's better to, if you were married before, it's better to marry one that was married, and because one that wasn't married would not understand you as correctly. But either way, the Lord grants you. He says the I am grant you. That's their translation. That you might find rest. And they wept. Okay, verse 10. And they said unto her, surely we will return with thee unto thy people. And they said unto her, and Naomi said, turn again, my daughters. Why will you go with me? Are there yet any more sons in my womb? She don't know. I don't think there are any more sons, and that they may be your husbands. Turn again, my daughters. Go your way, for I am too old to have an husband. Well, you're never too old, but either way, that's the way she felt. If I should say I have hope, if I should have an husband also tonight, and should also bear sons. What she mean by the husband? If I had a husband, a man that would copulate with me tonight. Because in God's law, sex is marriage. Whether you formally marriage or whatever, it's marriage. We learn that by looking in the book of Judges. And also we should see other examples of what a concubine is. Now, and should also bear sons. Would ye tarry for them till they were grown? Or was you going to wait at least 16 years, 15 years? And then they're not going to look at you in that way, baby. I'm sorry. But would ye stay for them from having husbands? Nay, my daughters, for it grieveth me much for your sake that the hand of the I am is gone out against me. So she thinks. And they lifted up their voice and wept again, and Orpah kissed her mother-in-law, but Ruth clave unto her. Now, man, this is the kind of woman you want. Older or younger, or too old and younger. Look at this. They were young. Yes, they were young. I would say they were probably about in their 20s. Yes. In verse 15, and she said, behold, thy sister-in-law is going back unto her people and unto her gods. What gods are that? Is she going back to her people and her gods? Her gods, basically, because back then every man did what was seemingly right in his own sight, right? According to the book of Judges. And there's no difference with the people of Moab. And so what had happened, this is like I said before, all that region, what they call Arabia and all that stuff, that is the land of Shem. It's part of the land of Shem. All of it. All those tribes are way all the way to the border. Yes, they were there. Now, let's continue. Even Edom was there too, as well as Moab and other See, what it is, the colonizers of the Arabian people, they were there, some of them, but they were mostly servants at a time. If you read the book, The History of Ancient Hebrews and Arabs by Gert Mueller and Anubantu, read it. Research it. They don't want you to read that book because it's going to tell you the whole story. It's not going to be a long book either. For those of you who are lazy in the head, should I say, and don't really want to know your true history, and those of you who go along with these other book writers and stuff, oh, it's in South Africa, oh, it's in America. No, it's right there where it is. They confuse you. Just like those who write these books and stuff, they're confused. I was confused at one time that I believed it was in South Africa. I believed it was over there. I was just confused. But the fact is, now, I am straightening me out by listening to a certain brother. And I said, you know what, this guy is right. And he pointed it all out. You can't put your finger on it. Can you put your hands on an artifact or anything of that of the people of Israel where you go in South Africa? Put your hands on it. Make a film of it. Put your hands over in the United States. Put your hands over in Kenya. Just don't show me no mountains or all this. You don't know what you're talking about. Get out of here with your books. Just because you can point it out in a book. Oh, he went up. Well, you can go up into the mountains before you reach the valley into where Jerusalem or Jebus is surrounded by mountains. You got to go up, then you got to go down. Then you have to go south once you cross all of that. It might have been a mistranslation of the way they, or should I say, explained it. Or it could have been they could have went down, up, and then they could have crossed at the point of the Red Sea and came back up. It could have been anything. We don't know how the land was situated back then. So the fact is that you go on things and you make up your mind and then you stick with it, and you can wind up into damnable heresies. Now, let's continue. And she said, now, Ruth said, I entreat me. And Ruth said, entreat me not to leave thee, or return from the following after thee, for whether thou goest, this is what you want your wife to do, man. She said, whether thou goest, when she look at you, she says, where you go, man, I will go. And when she says this to you, where thou lodgest, I will lodge, wherever you go, man. And she says, and thy people shall be my people, and thy God my God. That is the woman you marry. There. Don't perk her to say it. Let her say it of herself. Because once she says that, she means it. And that's where she's going to be with you until death do her part. You can't, even if you walk away from her, she's going to be there with you either way. Whether you're sick or dying because she sees something in you that no other person sees. Whether you're poor, rich, or whatever, she doesn't care. Because she sees something in you that's different. That she loves. See, a woman is different than we are, men. They are different. And there will I be buried. That's a ride or die chick, brother. Ride or die. Look for those words in a woman. When you're talking to them, when she calls herself falling in love with you. Listen for those things. You know, it's so much deceitful, but you always take a chance on relationship. I don't care how you look at it, whether male or female, you take a chance. And the I am do so to me, and more so also, if aught but death part thee and me. Now she said, hey, I'm a ride or die with you, brother. You mine. That's what she said. This is what you want. And then you look at her and you say, you are mine and I'm yours and we're together. And that's it. Can't nobody get between that. Especially if you're committed to that, should I say, oath. If you're committed. Some people talk with a forked tongue, but to say those words between the two, woo, that is a relationship to die for. Now, where thou diest, I will die, and be there, and there will I be buried. The I am do so to me, more so if I ought, but by death part thee and me. And when she saw that she was steadfastly minded, in other words, this girl had her mind made up. She wasn't jiving. This is a sign of feminine maturity. That's feminine maturity. She was steadfastly minded. In other words, she wasn't breaking from it. She committed. Then she left speaking unto her. So they two went until they came to Bethlehem. And it came to pass when they were come to Bethlehem that all the city was moved about them. And they said, is this Naomi? In other words, her cousins and everybody else knew who she was. And she said, call me not Naomi, for call me Myra. Myra. No, not the Myra on Urkel. For the Almighty hath dealt very bitterly with me. He took my people. But was it bitterly? She did not understand the Most High in that area. And I went out full, and the I Am hath brought me home again empty. Why then call ye me Naomi, seeing the I Am hath testified against me, and the Almighty hath afflicted me? So Naomi returned, and Ruth the Moabitess. Yes, she was a Moabitess or a Moabite. They just tried to show you her femininity by calling her a Moabitess. The translator, that's a Moab translator's thing. And her daughter-in-law with her, and which returned out of the country of Moab, and they came to Bethlehem in the beginning of the barley harvest. So they had bread. They had bread. Now, God's getting ready to do something. Now, here's Israel getting ready to go through another chastisement. But we're going to read the book of Ruth. And with that, we're going to say, peace.
Walk with me.